All right, everybody, welcome to Self-Care Sunday. My name is Jessie. I am the person who usually does this for the library. I am not 100% sure if folks can hear me right now. Let me see. All right, hold for technical difficulties. All right, hello, hello, hello. All right, the good news is it sounds like everyone in the chat can hear me, which is good. So welcome once again to Self-Care Sunday. This program is brought to you by the Glencoe Public Library. And today we are just going to be doing some simple self-care activities, to try to take care of our mental health during these very challenging times. So thank you for being here. Whether you're watching it live with me right now or if you are watching this later on one of the various places we're going to have it recorded, both on Twitch and on YouTube, I believe. Welcome. Thank you for being here. I'm going to post in the chat right now the link to our packet for today, which is going to include the recipe that we do today and some other resources that we'll talk about as we go along. And I'll repost that several times, so as people join us in the stream, they're able to get that link, and it will also be in the description of the videos later if you need it. And also it's on our Twitter, I believe, so one more handy place to find it. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started here. So our first item today, our first thing we're going to do is a recipe that's been in my family for quite a while, at least since I think my grandmother found it in a magazine, and it's been wildly popular ever since. So I talked last time, I think, about baking being something that can be a good self-care activity. Of course, it has the side effect of producing sweets, which could be a plus or a minus, depending on how you view that. But I decided to teach this recipe to y'all today because it is super simple. It requires only 4 ingredients and no bake time, which is a plus. So I'm going to get started on that. So the recipe for that is in the packet. I'm going to pull out my hard copy of it here. You'd think I'd have this memorized by now from how many times I've made it, but nope, still need the recipe. In fact, I had my mom send me this recipe, and she sent a picture of the little note card that she has it on that's like 20 years old and has a ton of like spills on it from people having it out while they're making this recipe. But I've retyped it for you so it's a little easier to read. Now, the recipe in there is for 1 batch, but I have never made fewer than 2. I always double it, and here's why. It's because this recipe the original calls for a cup of chocolate chips, which is half a bag of chocolate chips. Half of a standard, like, 12-ounce bag that's like this big. And it's also half of a can of sweetened condensed milk, which is sort of a random ingredient that I find that I don't ever really buy except for this recipe. So I like to double it so that way I can just use the sweetened condensed milk and not have half a jar of it just like sitting in my fridge waiting for me to figure out what to do with it, which is going to be either make more peanut butter sloppies or just like abandon it. So I usually put the peanut butter in first. Literally, this recipe is so simple, y'all. It's just you get all the ingredients, you put them in a bowl, you mix them, and then when you're done mixing, you roll the dough up into little balls. I will say this does obviously have some allergens in it. There's dairy in the milk and peanuts in the peanut butter, and obviously chocolate in the chocolate. So if any of those things are a problem for you, this is probably not your recipe, but you know, this is a program for teens and tweens. You're all smart enough to figure out what you should and shouldn't eat. So I'm trying to measure 2 cups of peanut butter, which is always a little bit of a challenge because peanut butter is very sticky. And also, I can't fit a 1 measuring cup into this peanut butter, so I'm doing my best with this half cup measurer. And honestly, it doesn't have to be perfect. I know a lot of baking recipes, you really want to get like the exact amount. People will like weigh their ingredients on a scale to make sure they have the exact right amount, but I'm not that fancy around here. Like I said, this is intended to be a baking activity for all skill levels, including I've never baked anything ever in my entire life and I'm terrified. If that's you, do not worry. And Miss Emily points out in the comments that there are excellent substitutes for all of these ingredients that are potentially allergens for folks, and that's very true. I've never tried making this with alternate ingredients, but I would be interested if you do try this with like sunflower butter or any other type of substitute. I don't know what the milk substitute for sweetened condensed milk would be. Like, I know about milk substitutes, but like soy milk and whatnot, but I'm curious if they come in sweetened condensed form. Probably. Condensed coconut cream. That's a great suggestion. So there you go. Adapt this recipe as needed. This is your self-care. You want to make something that you can enjoy. Alright, so now that I've made a huge mess with this peanut butter, next step, I guess it doesn't really matter what order you put them in. I've just always done peanut butter first. Okay, next we're going to pour in this sweetened condensed milk, which, like I said, is a very weird product. Like, I've never used it in anything but this. It's very, like, gooey like this. Do you see this? It's kind of satisfying to watch it pour. I should try this with condensed coconut cream, because strictly speaking, I am lactose intolerant and probably shouldn't eat this recipe, but I like to live on the edge. Okay, so I'm going to leave that to kind of finish dribbling like this, and in the meantime, we're going to dump all these chocolate chips in here. And if you're me, you're going to take a couple chocolate chips just to pop in your mouth right away. If you're cooking for other people, wash your hands after you do that, but I'm making this for me, so. Okay, and then the last thing we need is, let's see, okay, a quarter cup of powdered sugar, which is actually going to be a half cup of powdered sugar since we're doubling this. I had the hardest time finding powdered sugar at the store. It was weird. It was like sold out at this particular Target I went to. I finally found like 1 bag in the very back. I was like, all right, that's our powdered sugar for this program. But yeah, you really don't have to be super precise with your ingredients. It's not gonna, because the thing is, a lot of times with baking, the reason you need your ingredients to be like very exact proportions is so that it will bake properly, and this is a no-bake cookie. And there's also no eggs in it, which is a plus for some folks. I've brought these cookies to parties before because they come out, so now basically I'm just gonna mix it, and it's a pretty straightforward process. It does take a little arm strength, because you're stirring a lot of peanut butter and just thick ingredients, but that's okay. I will say the end result of this does kind of look like it's just cookie dough, and it doesn't really taste quite like cookie dough, but I did bring it to a cookie party once where everybody brought their own type of cookie to share, and people were like, who brought just cookie dough? I had to be like, no, it's not just cookie dough, it's like an actual, like it's a cookie, and it doesn't have raw egg in it, so you can eat it, basically, is the point I had to make. And then once people tried it, they were like, oh man, yeah, these are super delicious, you were super right. And I was like, I know I'm super right. But yeah, these are just super yummy, and they're one of those things I find that are in the vein of like miniature candy bars, where I'm like, I'm gonna have one of these because it's small, and then you eat like 6. Because you're like, it's small, it's fine. Okay, so I washed my hands before this stream, but you should always wash your hands before you do any kind of cooking or baking, just as a rule. Because this is the part where we're really going to get into it with our hands. And didn't really think about the fact that I'm going to have to wash my hands between this activity and the next one, but that's fine. It's fine. We'll make it work. So what you want to do now is you just get like, sizes vary. This is the thing in my family. Some people make really small ones. Some people make larger ones. Mine are pretty medium, like this size here. It's about the amount you get if you scoop like a spoon. But honestly, you can just feel it out. They don't all have to be the same size, and they don't all even have to be attractive. Like, part of the name peanut butter sloppies is that, like, these are exceptionally neat for peanut butter sloppies. Some people in my family will just do it like this. And, like, that's also totally fine. This is your self-care, your peanut butter sloppies. And I am just seeing now in the chat that evaporated milk is the same as sweetened condensed milk, but without the added sugar. That's good to know. So, maybe the store is out of sweetened condensed milk, like it was almost out of the powdered sugar, or maybe evaporated milk's what you have in your house, so you want to do a slightly less sugary version of this. It's totally cool as well. It's all about what works for you here on our self-care Sundays. So yeah, the neat thing about these is, like, once you put them in these blobs, they're done. Like, you could just eat one right away. Generally, I will put them in the fridge for like 5-10 minutes because they're extra good when they're chilled. Oh, I'm also realizing that the recipe specifically says to put this on wax paper, probably so it doesn't stick, but it's not that serious. The other great thing about them being no bake is I don't have to worry about putting them too close together on the baking sheet, because they're not going to expand at all. So they're just, this is it. This is what they are. This is their size. You can see why people would think they're just balls of raw cookie dough, because they do kind of look like that. But they're surprisingly delicious for something so easy to make. And I started making them when I was a kid, because I think my mom just was always making like a lot of kinds of Christmas cookies, and she was like, well, these are the easiest ones, so I'm gonna make the kids make those. So maybe if you have a younger sibling in your life, you want an activity you can do with them, this is a good one. They get to help in the kitchen, and like the majority of this is just mixing and then rolling them into little balls. You can even make them like weird shapes. I don't know, I've never tried that, but like you could make like a snowman or something. Just like stack a couple. Ta-da! Art. But yeah, just go nuts. Do whatever makes you happy. If you want giant sloppies, make giant ones. If you want little teeny ones, they're all kind of bite-sized, like, sometimes if you make really big ones, they can be 2 bites, but they're really like a 1-bite cookie, which is great. This could be maybe a study snack, something that you eat on a break from studying as like a little reward, a little self-motivator, like, if I finish this homework assignment, then I get to have a peanut butter sloppy. There's something relaxing too about just like this sort of repetitive movement, of just pick up some dough, make it into some sloppy shaped balls. I feel like I keep saying balls, and I'd like to apologize for that. I'm sure it's fine. If any of you watching are like 16 and up-ish, I highly recommend watching the Sweaty Balls sketch from SNL. Ask your parents first. Don't just be like, the Glencoe librarian said I should watch this, which I did. I did just say that. But it's pretty funny as sketches go, and it's not really inappropriate. It's just making a lot of amusing puns. Can everyone still hear me okay? My air conditioning kicked on, which I know can be a little loud, so I'm hoping you can still hear me over it. I don't have my headphones today because they were giving me trouble last time, so I'm using my... Do you know that most webcams have a microphone built in? Oh good, you can still hear. I did not know that until I watched a video about setting up streams, and they were like, yeah, a lot of times the one in your webcam is not going to be super great, but it tends to be better than ones from like sort of cheap headphones, and that's what I have, so I don't know, it's also nice because I'm not like tied to my chair in the same way. So I am just I'm gonna finish with this sheet here, I think. I've got enough for 2 sheets, probably because I doubled the recipe. And then I'll go wash my hands, and then we'll do the next thing. Yeah, this was always a Christmas cookie in my house growing up, but there's no reason for it to not be an all-year cookie. Like, I think most Christmas cookies could be all-year cookies, unless they're specifically like, you know, these ones are shaped like Santa or something. Or like peppermint is very seasonal. I don't know, I'm trying really hard to lean into enjoying the seasons this year. I really enjoy like autumn, and I really enjoy Halloween specifically, so I'm trying to enjoy all my favorite October and Halloween things, like pumpkin spice stuff. It's actually pretty easy to make your own pumpkin spice if you have the right spices in your house, or you can just buy pumpkin spice and make your own pumpkin spicy things like coffee, or I don't know, I pretty much use mine for coffee, but I'm sure there are many uses, baked goods, what have you. I like putting up spooky Halloween decorations. That makes me happy. I'm gonna buy Halloween costumes for my cats, even though they will not appreciate it. I'm gonna do it anyway. So yeah, trying to just channel those seasonal things that can be fun. I'm gonna try to do the same thing with winter too, and really reframe winter as, instead of a negative thing, it's an opportunity to do some different things that I might not do in other seasons, like go for walks in the snow, or drink a lot of hot chocolate. I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna go wash my hands. I'll be back in just a moment with our next activity. Alright, I am back. Target and Michael's pet costumes. Yes, that's what I've been looking at. I saw one that's Bread Cat, which is of course hilarious, and then I saw one that was 2 Bread Cat costumes, and one is peanut butter and one is jelly, and I kind of like the idea of my cats having like a buddy Halloween costume. Okay, I'm just gonna push that off camera as much as possible. That's fine, that'll work. It's just gonna be a little bit of Okay, so last time we did a little bit of some meditation, and meditation is great. but it's not for everyone. And so today I wanted to do something that is similar but not quite the same, which is breathing exercises, breathing techniques. Something that's really wonderful about our breath is that it's something that's always with us. So no matter where you are, no matter what you're doing, you can always turn to your breath if you need a way to ground yourself, to just calm down a little bit. There's a reason people say, like, take a breath when you're freaking out, or you need to breathe, that sort of thing. But there's a million different techniques for calming yourself via breathing available on the internet. I just chose 2 today that I got from the University of Michigan's mental health website, but that I've also just been using for a while and have found helpful personally. But there's lots more out there if you're interested. So I'm going to just go ahead and get started here. So the first breathing technique is what's called belly breathing. Some of you might be familiar with it, some of you might not. I find that people who have either done singing, like either in a choir or in voice lessons, or have played any kind of wind or brass instrument tend to be more familiar with this, because this type of breathing is important for those types of music making. But even if you've never done any of those things, you can learn about belly breathing, which is it's a way to get more oxygen into your body, as well as your lungs have to do less work to get air, and it's always good, I think, to be able to do less when possible. Because we all just have too much on our plates, and so doing a little less, even with our breathing, can be nice. So this exercise works the best, in my experience, if you are able to lay on your back. If not, don't worry about it, or if you're just not comfortable with that, don't worry about it. You can also do it, just sitting up with a straight spine, like I didn't just have, but now I do. And what you're going to want to do, I'll just set down my instructions here. These instructions, by the way, are also in your packet if you would like to revisit them later, or if you'd like to get the URL for this University of Michigan page, which has a bunch of other breathing techniques as well. So you're going to take one hand and put it on your belly, and the other hand and put it on your chest. Take a deep breath through your nose, and you're going to feel movement as you breathe in and out. And depending on how you typically breathe, you might feel more movement in your chest, or more movement in your belly, or maybe it's kind of even to both. Your goal here is to try to breathe in such a way that you're going to feel the air push out in your belly, but almost not at all in your chest. That's why we call it belly breathing. And a helpful way to do this is just breathe in through your nose, and then breathe out through your pursed lips like you were whistling. So like, you couldn't see that, so it probably wasn't terribly helpful, but I'm going to give you a moment here to go ahead and give this breathing a try. We're going to try to do it for a couple of breath cycles, maybe more than a couple. Just give yourself the opportunity to explore your breathing, explore how your body feels when you breathe in different ways. And yeah, we're just going to have a little bit of silence here to practice that. here. Wonderful. So you can take note of how you feel now that you've done a few of these belly breaths. Maybe you feel more relaxed. Maybe you don't feel much of anything. Maybe you feel a little stressed out because this is something new to you and you're not totally sure what you're doing here, and that's fine. All of those reactions, any reaction you have is right. So the next type of breathing that we're going to do is called 4-7-8 breathing, and it's part of a kind of broader category of breathing, which is extended exhale breaths. And I recently heard through one of my meditation apps, and I have not verified this independently, and I probably will look into that, but their explanation for why extended exhale is soothing is that your heart actually beats slightly faster when you're inhaling and slightly slower when you're exhaling. So when you have that extended exhale, it's actually causing your heart rate to slow down a little bit, which can be helpful when you're, feeling anxious or stressed or, otherwise emotional. A lot of times your heart rate will increase from that. And slowing it down helps helps signal to our body to go into our parasympathetic nervous system, or basically, you've all heard probably the term like fight or flight mode, and there's an opposite term for that, which is rest and digest. So that's when your body is in a state of not having to directly face off against some perceived threat, and it's just resting, restoring itself. And the digest portion of it is actually pretty interesting to me because when you're in that fight or flight mode, your brain, your body moves all of its energy into areas that can help you to run or to fight. So you're getting all that adrenaline, you're getting, your increased heart rate, increased breathing, and digestion just stops, because that's something that your body says, well, we don't need this in order to fight or run away, so we're just going to shut it off for now. And why I find that interesting is because it's an explanation for why so many of us, myself included, experience like bad stomach feelings, essentially, when you're feeling anxious or stressed or nervous. You feel like your stomach is clenching, maybe you feel nauseous, and it's because your body's in that fight or flight mode and it's decided it doesn't need to be digesting. But in reality, most of the time, the perceived threat we're facing is not as much of a threat as we think, right? It's, fear of others' disapproval, or, fear of doing poorly on a test, all sorts of things, but they aren't really life and death, and so it doesn't serve us to be in that fight or flight mode. And so what we want to do is signal to our body that now is the time to rest and digest. And so that was a lot of talking, but all of that to say that this exercise is a way of signaling to your body that right now we want to be in rest and digest mode. And so that's why it's effective. So once again, find a comfortable position. You might, again, find it helpful to be lying on your back. I forgot to mention last time, the reason that's helpful is because it makes it a lot easier to feel, to feel that movement in your stomach. But again, sitting is also perfectly fine with a nice straight spine and otherwise relaxed body. And once again, we're going to have a hand on our stomach and one on our chest, or if you're more comfortable just leaving your hands by your sides, that's totally fine as well. And I just realized the instructions in the breathing techniques are the same for the two techniques, even though they're not the same. I must have just copy pasted them and forgot to change it. So I'm going to hit you up with an updated link at the end of the stream. But we're going to go on with our breathing technique. So again, you can put your hands on your belly and your chest. You can put them by your sides, whatever makes you comfortable, in your lap. And all you're going to do is you're going to breathe in for 4 seconds, hold that breath for 7 seconds, and then let it out for 8. So it's called 4, 7, 8 breathing. It does not matter the speed at which you count these numbers, how fast or slow it goes. Just do it in your own time, and as with any breathing exercise, if you start to feel dizzy or lightheaded, just stop and go back to your regular form of breathing. So I'll guide you through the first one. Breathe in 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and exhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and really try to get all of that air out of your lungs on 8. So I'll give you a few moments here. We'll do a few breath cycles with our 4, 7, 8 breathing. Inhaling for 4, holding for 7, and exhaling for 8. Couple more breath cycles here. All right, wonderful. So those are our breathing techniques for today. Like I said, I will give you an updated packet that has some actual instructions for 4, 7, 8 breathing that aren't just the same as the belly breathing instructions. I'm going to post the link in the chat one more time anyway, though, for the current non-updated version of the packet, because the last couple pages of the packet have to do with our next activity. So I talked a little last time about how I find it really soothing to be able to do something with my hands. And especially now when so much of our world is digital, maybe you have virtual classes or virtual club meetings or virtual visits with your extended family. I myself find myself in a lot of Zoom calls specifically, but there's a lot of video chats. I'm in a lot of video chats. I'm doing a lot of stuff that involves staring at a screen, and so it's nice to do something that is screenless. We talk about screen time a lot. I don't really know what the effects of that are on the brain. I know there's been some studies done, especially with kids, but the point is sometimes you just don't want to look at a computer screen anymore, and you want to do something else. So last time we did a little bit of coloring. This time we're going to do something that's similarly creative, but in a different way. So I'm sure all of you, maybe not, but I bet most of you have done some kind of collage in your life. And that's what we're going to do today. We're going to make a collage, and it can be in the style of a mood board where you're putting things that, well, I guess a mood board is really just helping express any given mood. So, you could pick an emotion and create your board around that emotion. The term I was looking for earlier was a vision board. So it could be a vision board, some things that you want to have in your future, or it could be, you know, kind of goofy and silly if that's what you want to do. It can just be a random collection of pictures that looked interesting to you. It really doesn't matter. But today I'm going to work with some magazines that I have in my house. You might have magazines or newspapers in your house that you want to use. You can also print images offline. In the packet, there's a couple pages, I think 2 pages of just some public domain images I pulled that I thought were interesting that people might want to use in their collages. Feel free to use those or not use them, print them out and just cut them to shreds and throw them in the recycling. I don't care. Whatever you want to do with them. So I have kind of a random assortment of magazines I'm working with here today. We have the Land's End Home catalog. I actually kind of like this book here, so I might use that. I have the American Library Association magazine. I feel like this is saying a lot about me as a person, because then the other thing I have is I have 2 copies of each of these 2 bridal magazines. So that's what I'm going to be working with today. I have no plan whatsoever for what I want to do with my collage. I also feel like my pieces of paper are maybe too small, but that's okay. 'Cause I just have like some 8.5 by 11 cardstock. Whatever you have in your house works. If you want to use printer paper, if you've got a poster board, that's probably pretty good for this because it gives you a lot of room to work with. But yeah, I have no plan for this, like I said, so I'm just gonna flip through these magazines and see what appeals to me. There's a picture of a dog here. That appeals to me because dogs. We'll just kind of see how this turns out. I'm actually going to look at this magazine later for actual wedding ideas. I am getting married, which is why I have all these bridal magazines, but I somehow ended up with, like, not just 2 of the same one, but 2 of the same one twice. Okay, you know what? I'm going to start with that picture from the front of Land's End because I like it. And I don't know, it's just a vibe, you know? We're just vibing here. I feel like that should be the tagline for this program. Self-Care Sundays. We're just vibing here. It's interesting that this book also has an envelope on top of it. Like, what was the stylistic choice behind the envelope on the book? The glasses make more sense to me. I don't know. Either way, I like it. I also feel like collaging is one of those things that's like, you do it as a kid and then you kind of don't do it again as an adult unless you are in, I think it was the 80s that decoupaging was really popular. I don't know, ask your adults if they were into decoupage. But that's just like basically collages, but you put Mod Podge on top of it. And so then it achieves a very specific look. That I don't hate, honestly. It's kind of cute. I don't know why it fell out of fashion. People would decoupage like lampshades or like clocks and things to make them look more interesting. And I love that. I love using arts and crafts to make your house more stylish. Alright, there is my book and glasses. It's going to be the start of this collage. I have about several pieces of paper, so I can do a couple. I don't know exactly what I want to do. Maybe I'll cut out some words. That's always fun. That's popular for vision boards, to have words, like guiding words. I don't know if this is necessarily a vision board. I think it really just falls in a collection of like random photos that I like. Whatever excites me from among these pages. So far this is a lot of sheets, and well, being warm in winter is appealing. I don't know that a lot of piles of sheets necessarily inspire me. We'll keep flipping just in case. The holiday shop is now open. We got this in like September, Seems a little premature. Whatever. Aw, these are kind of cute. I do want to get my cats Christmas stockings this year, which I realize is super nerdy, but I don't care. The wreaths are fun. I'm feeling spooky mood right now. Like, I'm in spooky mode. Halloween, October, fall, that's what I'm feeling. You know, maybe if we do this collage activity again in December, I would be all about these, like, flannels and, you know, wreaths and things, but... Alright, oh, puppies! I was about to say there's nothing in this magazine that inspires me besides the glasses, but I take it back. I'm putting 2 dogs. 2 dogs on my collage. Not 1, but 2. So I have a glue stick here, also some double-sided tape. But again, you can kind of do this with whatever adhesive is in your home. I'm trying to present some activities on this program that, you know, are flexible and adaptable, that you can kind of do with whatever you have at home, or with like minimal supply purchasing from your grocery store, say. Just because, you know, self-care doesn't have to be expensive. It can just be, I mean, a lot of it is free. For example, those breathing techniques cost $0 and 0 cents. This collaging thing is pretty inexpensive because I'm using stuff I already have in my house. And now I have a dog stuck to my hand, which is sort of the opposite of a problem. We're going to put one dog here. See, look how cute. He has a little bandana. I love his little bandana. Like, the item they're selling is the bandana. As well as this stripy Christmas sweater, which is just so fashion. Am I right? I feel like dog fashion is the best fashion. I mean, there might be some who disagree, but... like, who wants to watch Fashion Week when you could look at dogs and sweaters? I mean... plenty of people want to watch Fashion Week, but I bet they also want to watch dogs and sweaters. Because dogs and sweaters are, like, pretty great, I'm not going to lie. Okay. What else can I find to put on my collage? Let's see. I'm going to try the other wedding magazine now. The one with the woman, we have this woman who's laughing in the outdoors in her wedding gown. I like that energy, honestly, I do. Kind of tempted to cut out the words gorgeous gowns from the front cover, just because that's a mood. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it because this is my collage and I can do whatever I want with it, even if it doesn't make any sense to anyone else. Alright. It's the great thing about self-care. It's all about what you want to do. If your version of self-care is like, I don't know, wildly different from mine, like if you consider self-care to be going for a nice long run, for example. I think I brought that up last time as one that, like, a lot of people find going for a run helpful. I hate running. But that's okay, because we're all different. My self-care is not your self-care. And as always, I'm just hoping to provide some suggestions here. So the reason I picked collage today as an art form is because I think it's a little more freewheeling than coloring. Like I said last time, coloring is all about being within the lines, and that can be soothing, but it can also feel constricting perhaps. So some folks find it helpful to, you know, do things like drawing that are a little more like generative style art. And I think collaging is a nice in between. Ooh, I like those shoes. It's in between in the sense that you know, you're using images that already exist, but then combining them in whatever unique way, you know, moves you. So it's partially generative, partially creating something, and partially interpretive, meaning, you know, you're taking something that already exists and interpreting it, as opposed to creating something from scratch. This is all a little technical on the art side, but I was a theater major in college, so forgive me for that. I'll put this sparkly shoe because I love it. I don't know how many of you have seen the video of Kelly from Let's Get Some Shoes does Let's Wear Some Masks, I think she says. This is a ye old meme from a bygone age. This is a meme from when I was like 12. That I still enjoy to this day. It was like an early viral video when viral videos were not as much of a thing as they are now. And the same creator of that original video has released one that's mask themed for the pandemic. And it's pretty funny, I think. Again, it might just be my late millennial sense of humor. Cutting out this bouquet of flowers. I will say the wedding magazines are nice because they have a lot of pretty pictures. But you might not have that in your house, especially if no one in your house is getting married. Why would you have, like, wedding magazines around? But, you know, there's all kinds of great magazines or newspapers, even, like, you know, if you've got, like, a beat-up book or something that you want to do. I know some people find the idea of making crafts out of books, like, kind of offensive, like, how dare you do that to a book? Books are precious things, and I mean, I love a book, don't get me wrong. I work in libraries, I love books. But my thing is, once it's falling apart, you know, your options are to throw it away or to make it into something interesting. And if you can make it into something interesting, why not do it? That is why, to segue into plugging another thing the library is currently doing, we have started doing craft bags for teens. We call them brain break bags. The idea being that, you know, maybe you're doing some homework or you're dealing with some whatever personal drama, and you just need a break. And I realize I said that a little dismissively. I don't mean like, oh, personal drama like you teens have. I mean like, I'm dealing with personal drama right now and I need a little bit of a break from it, so I'm making this collage. But we have brain break bags, which is hard for me to say, but that's what they're called, brain break bags. Downstairs in the YA section, so if you pop into the library, you can pick one up. And they have in them book pages from worn out books, which is why I mentioned it, because we were talking about the book thing. I love this tiny mouse who's a DJ. I've gone to my American Libraries magazine now, in case that was not clear. I think I saw this video, actually, with this mouse in it. It's a library that they made a video to describe, like, how their curbside pickup was going to work. And they had this super cute little, like, mouse puppet who starred in the video and was supposed to be singing the lyrics about, or maybe he rapped, because see, he has a turntable here. It's like DJ Cute Mouse. So we're going to add DJ Cute Mouse to our collage. Like, maybe I'll put him underneath the dog in the Christmas sweater. That seems right to me. It's just it's how I'm vibing today. But yeah, if you pick up one of our brain break bags, you can get, oops, I almost put him upside down. You know what, I'm going to put him upside down on purpose. I kind of like that. It's a little, like, chaotic energy to my collage, and I like it. There's book pages in there, as well as suggestions for what you can do with book pages. There's a lot you can do. You can make origami out of them. There's instructions for, I always call them a cootie catcher. I think there's multiple names for them. But those things where you can, like, they're like paper and you can, like, read your fortune. Those are pretty fun. You can do Blackout Poetry. with book pages or with stuff from magazines. Like you could totally use this for Blackout Poetry. And if you don't know what that is, it's a form of poetry where you take an existing text and you kind of select certain words from within it that have meaning to you, that have meaning to the poem, and then you use like a Sharpie or something, a black marker, to black out everything else. And so then the poem just becomes the words that are left. It's a kind of a cool, again, in that same realm of collaging where it's like partially something you generated, but it's partially something that already existed. Like you make something new out of an existing thing, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Camels elevate learning. I guess I should probably read this as well as cutting it up. Oh man. There's a lot of people in here. I don't know who any of them are, so it feels a little weird to put them in my collage. Like they're librarians, I assume. But also, what do I know? Oh wait, that is Sonia Sotomayor is in here. Do I want Sonia Sotomayor in my collage? I don't know if she fits. I don't know. She's pretty cool, though, is the point. First Hispanic female judge on the Supreme Court, which is pretty awesome. Ooh, there's some nice pictures of library architecture in here. I knew there was a reason I wanted this magazine. Because I love library architecture. That made me sound like a real goofball, but I don't care. Sometimes you have to be a goofball as part of your self-care, and that's fine. This is a no judgment zone. Environmentally sustainable way. I might use that phrase. Or maybe just environmentally sustainable, I think is the phrase I want there. See, the other ones I cut up I had already either looked at or, again, I had duplicate copies. It did not occur to me that I was cutting up something that I might want to read later, but that's fine. You know, make sure the materials you use aren't something someone in your house is planning to read. I feel like a lot of households kind of accumulate catalogs, at least mine used to, when I lived with my parents. Now we don't get a lot of magazines, other than these ones you're seeing today. You could even, if you were feeling it, use some book pages from your why is that such a tongue twister? Brain break bag. And make that part of your collage if you wanted to do that. Or you could make a collage on a book page. I'm just spitballing here, but I think that's a fun idea. I like that the text I've chosen is gorgeous gowns and environmentally sustainable. I mean, yeah, those are things I'm passionate about. Gorgeous gowns and being environmentally sustainable. Heck, I'd love to learn about environmentally sustainable gorgeous gowns. I have no idea the sustainability of the wedding dress I bought. Didn't even think about it. Probably should have. Alright. Environmentally sustainable. And I put this little leaf picture there too because I liked it. Okay. See if there's anything else in American Library Magazine, and then we'll go back to the wedding magazine because that one had a lot of good stuff. Some book covers in here, but none of them are books I've read, unfortunately. I'll have to read the little descriptions and find out. Oh, look how cute! They're little bunny puppets. They're too big to fit on my collage, but they're pretty cute. Alright, so I think this is coming along nicely, to be honest. Like I said, I had no idea what I was going to do at the beginning of this. Like, I didn't really have a plan, per se. Like, the theme is really just, like, things I like. I think it's turning out nicely. Maybe I'll hang this somewhere in my apartment. Was it this magazine we were cutting up? I don't know. Ooh. Kind of like like these abstract flowers. Again, they're a little big. Some little pictures here. Passion. This is all wedding advice, so I have to not get distracted reading about wedding planning. Okay, this is a piece of Chicago-style pizza, so I have to put that in there. These are Chicago-inspired wedding style. Sorry, once again, I struggled to say those words in that order. But they include the suggestions, Lou Malnati's as late-night snacks, and Garrett's popcorn as favors, which I actually think those are both great ideas. Donut cake ice cream sandwiches. Man. Just really full of delicious suggestions. Okay, here we go. I'm going to cut out this pizza. I kind of want to put the lion from the Art Institute in here too. That's a suggestion for a group outing. And in pre-COVID times, I would agree that the art museum is a great place to go, but I'm not sure they're even open. But you know, in the theoretical COVID-free future, that is a good place to take out-of-town guests. Alright, here's my pizza. I like how I got 3 things from one page, but like, it's a good page, what can I say? I'm gonna take the lions. I believe these lions currently have masks on them, or I might be thinking of the ones at the Met, but I think it's these lions. I don't know. I'll have to look it up after this. After I finish updating the packet, because I have errors in the packet. It's fine. It's not that serious. I hope it's not that serious. I hope you aren't all going to be like, this program is terrible. There was an error in the packet, and I never want to watch Self-Care Sunday again. That would make me sad. Because I hope that you all are enjoying these. I'm certainly enjoying them. We have another one coming up in November. I believe it's the second Sunday of the month I have these scheduled. So whatever the second Sunday is at 2 p.m. and you can find it on the library calendar, on our website, and I try to put something on social media about it. This time I did it all today, like kind of last minute, but hoping a few people saw it. But yeah, this program is going to continue, and I hope folks are enjoying it. If you have thoughts, feelings, suggestions for things you'd like to see, I am happy to hear those suggestions. You can email them to either childrens@glencoelibrary.org and it will get forwarded to me, or just send it to me directly. I'm jbond@glencoelibrary.org. Again, that's jbond@glencoelibrary.org, like James Bond. There's another good picture of flowers in here. I haven't glued on my last things yet, though. So anyway, if you're like, I really love this form of self-care and would love to see that on the stream, let me know. Or if you're like, everything's perfect, keep doing it the same. Or I want more activities, or I want fewer activities, or I don't know, whatever thoughts you might have. I'm happy to hear them. Email them to us. You can tweet them to us. I'll see them there. Or on Instagram if you want to comment on our Instagram. All of those are ways you can get in contact. I mention those because there's not really a comments section that you can leave comments, because our YouTube channel does not have comments turned on, nor I think can you leave comments on a Twitch video that's video on demand. I could be wrong. Not an expert at Twitch, but I know like a handful of things about it. Okay, so I think I've got a finished collage here. It's just a collection of things that I think are great. I really do think I'm going to hang this up somewhere. I'm not sure where, but I like like looking at it, so I'll probably just keep it around. And I think, let me check my watch here. Oh wow, we're at exactly 3 o'clock. I timed that perfectly, and that was on purpose. So anyway, folks, thank you for joining me for Self-Care Sunday. I don't think I said, but my name is Jessie. Maybe I did say that at the beginning. But either way, my name is Jessie. I work at the Glencoe Library in the children's department and also teens. So, say hi if you see me around, or like I said, feel free to reach out on social media or via email. We also have a Discord. I totally forgot about that, but we do. We have a Discord for teens and tweens. I do believe you have to be 13 to join according to Discord's terms of service. If you have no idea what a Discord is, that's totally cool. It's a, how do I describe it? It's a communications program, I guess. Folks use it often for voice chat if they're playing video games together, but there's also like regular chats. And we have one for the library that's got different channels for things like our D&D program, for our Halloween weekends, our quarantine game nights, and there is a section for Self-Care Sundays. So if you would like to join that Discord, again, you can reach out to any of those channels I mentioned earlier. We'll send you the link. I put it in the chat right now, but I don't know if I remember what it is. Hang on. I think it's this. Nope. So anyway, whatever it is, you can get it from us, and that'll be, just a space where people can put self-care suggestions, ideas, comments, questions, thoughts about their own self-care, thoughts about the program, whatever. It's really your space. So that's another place to get updates on this program and many other programs that we're doing. And once again, thank you all for being here. Thanks for supporting the Glencoe Public Library. And, thank yourself today for taking the time to take care of yourself and your needs, because that's not always an easy thing, but it's an important one. And I will see you back here on the second Sunday of November for some more Self-Care Sundays. Have a good rest of your day.